Hi, I'm Ken Williams. I'm a pastor in Northern California. I've been married to my wife since 2006, and we have 4 children together. And I've just written this book called The Journey Out: How I Followed Jesus Away from Gay, which is controversial, I'm sure, just even in the title or in the artwork of the book. The reason I did that, the reason I wrote the book, is because of the pain that I know is out there. I encounter people every week, every day, that are confused about their sexuality. They are addicted to pornography or some sexual behavior that they are not proud of. They sexualize all kinds of things that they wouldn't want to. They objectify one sex or the other. They're finding themselves where their sexuality is dominating the rest of them. They're finding themselves unable to be able to live out what their convictions are, or what they feel like the Bible or the Lord is asking them to live. They're finding themselves unable to do so. And I remember that so well. I lived that way for so many years, feeling, like it was a cycle of sin, to shame, sin, shame, sin, shame. And it's like I would act out in the sin because I felt so shameful, and then when I would do it again, then I would feel more shame. And it's like Galatians says, walk in the Spirit and you will not obey the lust of the flesh. Well, it was very frustrating for me, that scripture was, because okay, but how do I do that? Because I love the Lord. I've known the Lord since I was 8 years old, and I understand, I think, what it is to walk in the Spirit. I'm filled with His Spirit, so what's going wrong? Well, what's going wrong is there was a lot of damage in my childhood. There were a lot of traumatic things that happened to me that might not have seemed so traumatic at the time, or maybe if this is you, it's like you just don't even really remember it, or you never think about what it was that happened. When those things are still affecting us potentially. So for me, I was exposed to pornography and hardcore gay pornography as a young boy, 8 or 9 years old. Dramatically affected me. I felt so guilty. I will never be able to let another person know that I have viewed this. The shame was intense, and I thought that meant that I must be a bad person. There must be something wrong with me that I had looked at that. I also didn't fit in with my peers because I wanted to talk deeply, even at 8 years old. And other boys, mostly, they don't want to do that. They want to knock something over or climb something. And they were bigger and stronger than me in most every case. And so, there was a little bit of a divide between me and my male peers. And so it wasn't just about sex. It was about identity. It was about who am I? It was about being able to even just exist on the planet and jive with the people I'm supposed to jive with. There was a lot wrong. And to the point that when I was 17 years old, I finally got up the guts to walk into a Christian bookstore with a ball cap pulled down and my coat up, trying to not let anybody see me. And because if anybody saw I was looking at a book on homosexuality, my life would be over. I couldn't believe it. There wasn't a single resource for me. And the only resource that addressed every kind of thing that you could be challenged with gave me no hope. Walked out of the Christian bookstore suicidal. That's why I had to write this book. I know now, after my journey with the Lord and after Him leading me out over several years, that there is so much hope for transformation for people. And it's not just my story, it's the story of several other of my friends that have a very similar journey. And it highlights what are those common points along the journey that all of us had to meet with God on. All of us had to be vulnerable. All of us had to surrender to things. All of us had to work on our relationships. It highlights each one of those. And it just demystifies homosexuality in general. Like, why would anyone even feel this way? And what does it mean if you do? And where do you go? It also is it's definitely a resource, most specifically for the individual that is struggling themselves with their identity. But it also gives counsel on if you're a pastor, if you're the parent, if you're a loved one of someone that is fully embraced in LGBTQ life or is just struggling and looking for help. That kind of wisdom is in the book as well. I'm very excited about it. Again, it's the book I wrote that I needed, and I believe it will help you, and it's available today.